fast forward, I thought, I need a change in terms of, I need more skills instead of just having the arts. And the funny thing was my choice was getting into recruiting. And my first recruiting job was for a tech school. Actually, it was for, if those out there remember, Chubb Institute.
Oh yeah, I'm familiar with Chubb. Yeah.
And when I got hired for Chubb, I applied for a graduate placement advisor for the graphic design students. Again, working with students in the arts. When speaking with the hiring manager, she could tell I knew a lot about technology, because there's a lot of technology within art for those who aren't familiar. And so she ended up making me the graduate placement advisor for the IT department as well. So I ended up being assigned to the graphic design students and the IT students.
So you're used to having multiple jobs. Now I get it. It's making sense now. Okay.
Fast forward from there, just ended up staying within recruiting, doing tech recruiting, also volunteering my time as well. I've worked for organizations, other nonprofits such as Job Corps.
Okay.
As a counselor.
You were Job Corps. Okay.
Yes,
okay.
as a counselor.
Great people down there. I love the programs they run.
I donate my time to Dress for Success when they were in Philadelphia. As a career counselor as well, so that was a really great experience working with those women.
So I want to speak about that a little. I think it's really important that people understand what you did there. You have a background in fashion, and you were able to find an opportunity with Dress for Success that allowed you to still, I guess, quench your thirst for fashion, but also work on the career side with people that needed their services. Yes. Because they cover both. Like everybody, sometimes people say, like, there probably are a ton of people out here that say, my passion is fashion, but I have a recruiting background. Unless I recruit for a fashion house, how do I tie that together? But you found a way to tie it together in that fashion. No pun intended. You found a way to tie it together in that fashion. So I can appreciate that. Yeah, that's a great story in itself. All right, talk to me. So you leave there.
Leave there, and also I did some volunteer work for Strides for Cancer, for the walk, for the breast cancer walk. Nice. For cancer organization. Okay. So I did that for a little bit as well, helped them out. But when I was working for Dress for Success, that's actually when I got in contact with Salvation Army.
Okay.
And when I was working for Dress for Success, the great thing there is that I also had the opportunity not just to do career counseling, but also I had the opportunity to actually do a fundraiser, do a clothing drive for them with one of the former colleges that I had attended.
Oh, okay, excellent.
So after that, when Dress for Success was getting ready and forcing to come to a close, I applied for Salvation Army. And I can tell you, when I did apply for Salvation Army for the position, I was a little nervous because I myself also wasn't, I hate to say, I really wasn't familiar with all the things that the Salvation Army did. So I was surprised when I did come across a job that they were in education. So I thought, what would this be like?
Right.
But I said, let me see, try it out. I hit it off really well with the Director of Education, which is Eileen Hens, my boss.
I had the opportunity to meet Eileen. I was fortunate enough to visit the Salvation Army headquarters and sit down and have a conversation with Eileen and Kristen. And this is, so people always say, wow, I had a conversation and it felt like I've known that person for years. I sat down with Eileen and Kristen and they literally had to kick me out. Because we just sat around, man, and we talked for well over an hour just about, so I'll explain something to you, right, Bruce? This is interesting. I'm really transparent. I just say what's on my mind most of the time. So when I went out there initially, Kristen had sent me an email that I missed. I missed the email because I had an initial appointment with them and it was canceled. So I came from New York for this appointment. And I walk in, and they're like, well, Kristen's not here and Eileen's busy. Whoa! I'm like, oh, so I wasn't thrilled about setting up another appointment, right? But you know what? I had met Kristen before. I really liked Kristen. And I'm like, I wanted to learn a little more about what they do. So I took the opportunity. Kristen had reached out and said, hey, are you interested in rescheduling? Like, we really do want to sit down and talk with you. So I came back a second time, and I'm so glad I did come back because Eileen is outstanding. I'm so sorry that she was unable to attend today, but that's why I invited Kristen back with the hopes that she'll bring Eileen the next time because she's just an unbelievable individual. You'll get to meet her when she comes back, man, but I mean, we sat down and just talked for like an hour and a half just about the work.
Wow.
You know, and why we do the work. And that was just a special conversation. So yeah, so thank you for introducing me to Eileen.
Oh, you're welcome. It was a pleasure. But Eileen and I, we hit it off really well. And, you know, she offered me the job.
Of course she did.
And when I took the job, it was pretty much, okay, we're doing this tech program, but it's up to you. You know, we have these kids, but it's up to you to design the brochure, design the marketing material.
Oh, so soup to nuts, you just everything. Like, this is yours. This is your baby.
Yes, that's what it was.
Okay.
You know, and I'm going to tell you, that may have made some people nervous, and I was a little bit nervous, but also excited because
Sure.
I enjoy building and creating, and that's the artist in me. I enjoy building and creating. So when she told me that, I thought, wow, the possibilities. You know, the possibilities.
Yeah.
And then also I had to register and go to Sparta, New Jersey. I know everybody wants to go to Sparta, New Jersey, right?
Yeah, where's Sparta?
You're booking your tickets now, right? You know, I know people who live in New Jersey don't know where Sparta, New Jersey is.
Yeah, right.
Shout out to Sparta, New Jersey.
Shout out to Sparta. If we have career seeker listeners in Sparta, please holler at us. Hit us up 215-923-9776. The Career Seekers Show, WPPM 106.5 LP Philadelphia. Kristen Davis, let's do it.
I had to go out there for training. So even though I had a tech background in terms of with recruiting, because I've also recruited for firms such as Boeing and BAE Systems through a staffing firm that I work with in Delaware.
Gotcha.
And then of course just doing it with Chubb Institute. So I already had, you know, that down in terms of reaching out, being comfortable reaching out to tech companies and networking. They wanted me to take a little bit further where I had to be certified to teach the program and to run it. So that's where Sparta, New Jersey comes in, and my friends at C-Tech Industries, who I love dearly. C-Tech Industries, that's part of the curriculum that we use for our program. We use C-Tech, and I had to go and spend time with C-Tech in Sparta and get certified. So I have my BISCI Telecom certification.
Oh, really?
Yes.
So okay.
Working with the people at C-Tech, and they're great. One day, if you have time, Kenneth, I'd like you to meet them too.
Oh yeah, I'd love to do
really
that. Yeah, let's make that happen.
Spent time out there, got certified, came back, you know, asked Eileen, how soon do you want this program up and running? She's like, as soon as possible.
Of course.
So what is as soon as possible? She's like, before September. So before September, okay, I've got
So how much
2
time?
weeks.
Yeah. Oh really? 2 weeks? I thought you were going to say 2 months.
No, so I got 2 weeks.
Okay.
Got certified in August, came back, started recruiting. Started recruiting internally with Salvation Army organizations.
Students, recruiting students.
Yeah,
from the
started
past.
recruiting students, hit the pavement, started going to the different Salvation Army residents
that
that we
makes sense.
have. Had my marketing material already. I did that my first week of employment, which helped being an artist. So
Right.
I knew how to put material together really fast.
Right.
Did you have instructors already in place?
No, I had to be the instructor.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's why you needed the
Yes, that's why I needed to be
certification.
certified. So
Gotcha.
I had to do everything. Pretty much if the walls need to be painted, I had to do that too. I'm just kidding. But pretty much I wear all hats for the program. And next week, did my first class, and here we are, going up on our second year. And we've had about close to 40 applicants go through the program. Those who have finished out of that, about 38. About 14, it's getting ready to be over 14 because we're getting ready to certify a class of 8 in about 3 weeks.
Okay.
But that whole group, 14 that did get certified, all of them except for about one, we're all placed.
That's outstanding. That's outstanding. That's an outstanding job. So you guys run some other programs there. Talk me through some of the other stuff.
In addition to our tech program, we're in the process of starting a new program. We actually have started it. We have partnered with First Student, and First Student, they actually own Greyhound. You will see them around Philadelphia if you see First Student yellow school buses. And their recruiter came in contact with me. We were at the MLK Day event.
Girard College,
Yes.
Urban League of Philadelphia event. Yes, indeed.
Yes, and I was approached by one of the top recruiters with First Student. His name is Mr. John Broaden, and he just came right over and said, I'd like to hire your students.
Okay.
So I thought, well, that's great, but, in thinking about it, I said, okay, and later on we set up a meeting, but in thinking about it, I thought, I want to keep my tech students on the path of tech as much as possible.
That makes sense.
So I thought, how can I work with First Student? Because I don't like to waste a job.
Okay,
As
right.
being a recruiter, I do not like to waste it.
I think I want to steal that. I love that.
Yes,
I don't like to waste a job.
I don't like to waste
Yes.
a job. So I thought, how can I incorporate this in what we're already doing? And so when I did meet with Mr. Broaden, I already had in mind an idea. I said, well, let me speak with him further. And so I asked him, I said, how long is your training? And he said, our training is about 3 weeks. Come to find out, actually, it's a little bit longer than that, which is a good thing. And so I told him, I said, this is the plan. I said, I'm going to take that training, and I'm going to market that. So let's just focus on the training for a moment.
Okay.
And let's focus
And
on
not the job component.
Yes.
I got you.
So let's focus on the job a little bit later. So I'm just going to take that training, and so I'm going to market it under the Salvation Army through our workforce training program. And that will be a CDL program under the Salvation Army. Great thing about it is, I said, as soon as they get done with training, then they move right into a job with First Student.
Sure. I got you. That's perfect.
Mm-hmm.
That's outstanding.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so you got the work tech program.
Mm-hmm.
You got the CDL program,
Yes.
delivering jobs. You already told me about how well you did on the placement for the work tech.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody that pretty much runs through the CDL probably can get a job. Or
Yes.
is in position to.
Yes, because see, the beauty of the program is if you express interest and you are placed within that training program, you pretty much already have a job.
Yeah, right.
You
Just
already have
once
a
you're
job.
in the
Yes.
program,
Mhm.
you pretty much are
Mhm.
employed in a sense.
Yes.
It's kind of like it's your training.
Yes.
Yeah,
Mhm.
okay, gotcha.
Because you've already of course met with Salvation Army, and then you've had the opportunity to meet with the recruiters with First Student, and that means that they've hired you. And then you just go through that either 3 or 8 weeks of training, and after that you move into your role as being a school bus driver.
That's outstanding.
And then another great thing about it is because the company is so large, and it also, First Student is also international, those enrolled in the program, they also have the opportunity, once working within that bus driver position, if they want to, relocate with First Student, or apply for a position with Greyhound, they have the opportunity to do so.
I love it. I love it. All right, so you got all of these programs going, some of them simultaneous. How are you finding time to create new programs, new ideas, things of that nature? Like, what else do you have on the horizon? Like, what are you looking at? Like, what, I don't like to use the term, what keeps you up at night? Because I thought, initially, when people would say that, I thought it was something negative, but sometimes that can be positive. You can be so excited by the work that you do. But what's exciting you right now in the work?
What's really exciting me is the people that we're helping. We are really helping people, and that was the purpose of the program. And even, the purpose of originally, if you want to, go years back of why I even, got into recruiting. So that's what's exciting. What we're doing is working.
I love it. I love it. I love it. So if I'm a job seeker and I'm looking to connect with some of your programs, or just to find out information, what's the path? What do I do?
Well, you can go on the Salvation Army website, or you can get in contact with me directly. Also, Salvation Army does have a page on Facebook as well.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yes, we are on Facebook.
You know, you guys are really, I love the fact that the people that run your Twitter feed are very responsive. I had posted some information today on Twitter, and you guys were right back on the retweet and everything. I'm like, wow, I'm surprised. Are you running the social media program over there too? Is that you? No? Okay.
No, I'm not doing
Bruce,
that.
I had to check. You never know.
You never know.
She's doing a lot over there.
Yeah.
So, Kristen, man, I really, like you coming out to the Career Seeker Show is great because you're pretty much, you and your mission is, this is kind of why we started the show. This is where the idea came from. Like, you know, I'm out here doing this. I've been in the Philadelphia space for years, 20 years, kind of in and out of Philly, supporting career seekers, whether or not it was through managing temporary staffing firms, doing executive search, the work I do with some social service organizations around here. Like even now, I'm teaching 2 classes a week in Philly. Monday, Tuesday, I have classes. Wednesday, I teach a class. Like I'm here, but I didn't know about the work being done by the Salvation Army. So you're the reason for the show. I just think there are so many resources out here that people aren't familiar with. And I get people like constantly to come up to me and say, Ken, I can't find a job, I can't find an opportunity. And I'm like, you should have been in my Connect to Work class, or you should have been in the New Choices class. Like, we're connecting employers. We played a clip earlier in the show from people that attended the neighborhood career fair that Temple University and my man Mike Robinson had put on, and they're getting interviews. And I think it's the same with Salvation Army. Like, how do people don't know that you're out here doing the things that you do? So I know you're marketing, but what can other people do? Like, what's the word of mouth piece? Like, how do people really connect with you guys? I know you said the website, but once I come there, even as an employer, what do I need to do to really get connected to you and your students?
Well, let me tell you some of the things that I do to make sure that what we're doing is known throughout the community. I reach out to a lot of other social service organizations.
Okay. So that's kind of where you start. You start there.
I start there. Of course, we have Salvation Army residences, and then outside of that, there's other organizations that I work with, such as, say, for example, the Bethesda Project. That's one of the organizations that I work with.
Okay.
Also, I work with a lot of churches within the area as well. Another organization that sometimes I like to work with is Philadelphia Fight also.
Okay, okay.
So that's how the word gets out, through those organizations, through churches. Also, I reach out to employers. And again, that comes from having a recruiting background as well. You know, that's part of it, you know, just going out there, cold calling, you know, hitting the pavement, going out there, you know, placing material, you know.
You bring up a really valid point. I think, you know, so I get calls from people constantly. And they reach out to me and they say, hey, Ken, you know, listen, love what you do. I'm interested in being a recruiter. I want to be a recruiter. And I always have to pause and say, listen, what you're really telling me is that you want to be a salesperson. Being a recruiter, especially in the space that you've been in, working agency recruitment, it's a sales job. It's not a recruiting job. They don't. The prerequisite is never that you've been a recruiter. It's that you've been a salesperson. We've taken people out of the mall at stores and made them recruiters because they knew how to sell. And when I tell people that, it's interesting. Sometimes I don't receive the return phone call. I say, think about that and just, you know, circle back to me, because really that's what's going to add value if you know, especially on the agency side. Can you bring business in? People can find people and connect with people. Like, you're doing a great job of connecting with people, but it sounds like you're also doing a great job of getting employers to buy into the fact that you are training your students and your participants correctly and that they're ready to come in and run. And I think that's the key right there. They're ready to come in and run.
And the main thing is also, Kenneth, is sometimes when people hear about our program and that it is through the Salvation Army, sometimes a thought process, because we are primarily working, you know, with people in transition. And sometimes the thought process, because we're the Salvation Army, that our students will not be as qualified,
Sure.
that our program isn't up to par to industry standard. So that's very important to make sure that different companies, other organizations know that the Salvation Army Work Tech program, us teaching cable networking, it is up to par
Sure.
to industry standards. Our students are very qualified to be employed by them.
And your students have great memories, man. I met one of your students out on the street one day. Hey, Bruce, no, I told you I went to that event, the panel discussion. And so I'm out in Center City, Philly one day. I think I'm somewhere in the neighborhood of, like, I don't know, Broad and I don't know. I was like right off of Broad Street on Chestnut. And I see this guy, and he comes up to me, has a big smile on his face, and he has his hand out. And I'm like, I know who this guy is. And he's like, you were the guy that spoke at the Salvation Army event. I met you there. I'm in the tech program or whatever program he was in, and I was like, wow, he actually remembered me from maybe a month out, just walking down the street in Center City. So yeah, you do have students that are invested in the process. So Kristen, please let our listeners know how they get in contact with you.
I certainly can give my telephone number, and also they can certainly email me as well.
All right, talk to them. What's the email address?
My email is Kristen, Kristen .Davis at use.salvationarmy.org. I know it's long.
Listen, we appreciate you coming out. I know you're on LinkedIn as well,
yes.
So people can probably connect with you there.
Yes.
That's fine. Yeah, I know you're pretty active. Listen, I was explaining to people the other day, Kristen does not sleep. She's up working all night. I've received emails, correspondence, reminders from her. She does it like a real trooper, and that's what I love about her. Thank you so very much for coming out to the Career Seeker Show today. Kristen Davis, Salvation Army. Appreciate you.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate you too.
All right, we did it again. It's the Career Seeker Show, live on WPPM 106.5 LP, Philadelphia. It's the Career Seeker Show. We do it every Wednesday from 4 to 5. I'd like to thank everyone. Philly, what's really good, everybody that tuned in on 106.5 FM out here in Philly. Everybody that checked in at phillycam.org, we appreciate you for bearing with us. Also, my family, everybody that really locked in on the East Coast Executive Facebook fan page, we appreciate you as well. We're coming soon. TV, man. We got my man Bruce Savage in here recording so we can produce the best of the Career Seeker Show on the Philly Cam platform, man. This is what we do. We live in the dream right here. Kristen Davis, the Salvation Army, we'd like to thank you on behalf of myself, Tiffany Sutherland, Alberta Bertolino, Alberta Bloom. I'm going to get it right, Ma, sooner or later. It's the Career Seeker Show. We'll be back next week with Ami from Howard University Career Services. Yeah, you heard me right. We HBCUing next week, Howard University Career Services. She's going to talk to all our students out there about what you need to do to get an internship and also to connect with career services when you're back on campus in the fall. It's the Career Seeker Show. Kenneth L. Johnson, thanks for tuning in.